She does have 4 children, and is
Hello,
currently
hello, hello.
working
This is
as a
Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you
housekeeper.
from Chicago.
She's paying
As
rent as
usual,
well
we
as,
are
my
watching
understanding is supporting
another
those
random
4
call and
children
having a
on
cup of
her,
coffee.
steady but somewhat
It appears
limited
we are with
income
Judge
through that
Davis
job as a
in Georgia.
housekeeper. Ms. Noble was in the Air Force previously, and as I said, she's got a decade of ties to Georgia, 4 children, and a job, but this is a pretty limited financial circumstance for her, given her obligations. So we are asking Your Honor to consider a UJR for Ms. Noble. I understand the concern with a criminal history such as Ms. Noble's. However, I'd just like to emphasize that this is a giving false name charge. She had such limited financial circumstances, and I don't believe that there's any kind of indication that she had been in any kind of illegal activity leading up to this charge. So we will be asking for a UJR for Ms. Noble.
All right, and Mr. Cohen, do you have anything to add?
Your Honor, given the fact that she was only charged with giving a false name, and that is not like one of the more serious charges that are on the calendar today. That's one of the reasons why we requested a UJR. However, given the new information that she has 30 cycles or so.
Is this the same guy from yesterday?
The state would, my recommendation would be for like a $200 bond.
All right. It looks like she has there was a 2021 FTA, 2019, and a couple of violations of probation, but pending right now, I am showing a November 2019 burglary, April 2020 theft by taking, criminal trespass, possession of tools, July 2020 financial transaction card theft, October 2020 possession of methamphetamine, October 2020 criminal trespass, October 2020 VGCSA by Schedule 1 controlled substance, theft by shoplifting, criminal trespass, and May of 2021 ID theft ×8 and financial transaction card theft. Based on these circumstances, the number of cases that are out and pending, I don't think a UJR is appropriate. However, I am also
we have a conflict in the chat.
And it does look like per the probable cause that she had active warrants out, which may be the reason how the false name came up. So I'm going to issue a bond in the amount of $1,000. And that'll be a regular bond with no special conditions. So you may follow the direction of the deputies, ma'am. Thank you.
She's new to me, but I like me some Judge Davis already.
All right. And I'll pull up our next.
You say dude, bro, like it's a bad thing.
All right, next we have Jennifer Sanchez.
And Judge, just for the court's knowledge, I'm sure that you're already aware, but Ms. Sanchez is on for a Riverside.
I do see that. Ms. Sanchez, I was going to say, you're charged in case number 2022-100177. However, no warrants have been taken at this time. And it looks like the 48-hour mark for the officers who have sought and obtained a warrant is 2:40 p.m. today.
Is it too early for me to say?
Is that what y'all are seeing?
I'm getting naughty
Yes,
librarian
Judge,
vibes.
and given that there is about 4 or 5 more hours in which the officer can take out a warrant, I would request that we still be heard on bond for Ms. Sanchez, just in case there is a warrant taken out. I don't want her stuck in there.
Well, so what I think I'm going to go ahead and sign a Riverside. I don't know that I can do a UJR ahead of a warrant coming in. Do you see what I'm saying? Or a bond ahead of a warrant coming in.
And this is why I love my chat.
So, I mean, I think I can just sign. she doesn't have a criminal history, and I would be inclined possibly to even give a UJR. However, I'm not seeing a criminal history. However, I can't give a UJR on something that's not there. There's nothing to attach it to. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and sign a Riverside in this case, ma'am. And I mean, there's not much time. So likely the officers, if they do not come in,
I did not say judge. I did not specify
which
where the
running out
naughty
of time,
librarian
you will
vibes
be
were coming
released
from.
at,
I just like the record to
or-
reflect that.
it may take a couple hours to process by the deputies in the jail, but you'll get an order saying if they do not have a warrant by what time was it? By 2:40 p.m. today, if no warrant has been sought, you will be released under Riverside, okay?
Okay.
All right. And that should please follow the direction of the deputies. That'll conclude your hearing. All right. And then
Also did not say
we'll
that.
pull up our last female.
I'm not guilty on all fronts here. Just random musings.
All right.
I'll talk
Next,
with
we
Mike.
have Franchon Staples. Good morning, Ms. Staples. You are charged in case number 22-087388 with 2 warrants. The first one is 22W016551.
Kurt knows better than anyone.
Damage, and the second one is 22W016552. Simple
I
assault.
sent a link to you,
fear.
Kurt, if you're
Your
interested.
attorney indicates that
I
they
have no
had a
idea
chance
what's on
to
this
go over
call.
These charges and the warrants with you and are waiving a formal reading of the warrants into the record. Do you understand what you're charged with, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney.
Thank you, Judge. We are going to be asking for the lowest bond Your Honor feels comfortable setting for Ms. Staples. I understand that this is I believe a family violence allegation, so a UJR is not possible. However, reading the warrants, it sounds as if this is for damaging a lock on a bedroom door and hitting the door, not offering any kind of violence directly at the alleged victim here. Additionally, this is the home in which Miss Staples lives.
That's
so
that's
I'm
one
not even
short
quite
step
sure
from
if it could
violence
be
to the
criminal
victim, though.
damage, given that it is her home.
That specific property.
However, we will just be asking for the lowest bond Your Honor feels comfortable setting at this point. Miss Staples has been living in Georgia for about 2 years now. She was in the Air Force previously, but has been living at the address in Stone Mountain for about a year now. As I said, she does live there with the alleged victim, who is her wife, as well as Ms. Staples has 3 children. She is currently employed at UPS and makes a steady paycheck there, but is also paying a significant amount in rent, as well as, like I said, has 3 children who are her responsibility. Just given the information I've already given regarding the allegations in the warrant, as well as her financial situation, as I said, we're asking for the lowest bond Your Honor feels comfortable setting. And I would request a no violent contact, given that this is where Miss Staples lives. It's where she's lived for a while, and there's no allegation of direct violence being offered to the alleged victim.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cohen?
Your Honor, in the warrant, it alleges that
What is up, Law Talk with Mike? How are you?
Miss Staples knocked the bedroom door off.
Chad, I'm sure will let me know if my volume is too high, too low, too whatever, because I've been messing with
rather
it.
alarming to me.
I got my stream deck now.
It also notes
now I've got
that
buttons
the
to push.
victim had locked herself in the bedroom.
Can you straighten us all out?
Any sort of confrontation or avoid getting possibly injured. And given the fact that there are 2 warrants, and given the violent nature of these allegations, the state's recommendation would be $3,000 total, $1,500 for each warrant.
All right. Given her lack of criminal history, I don't see one at all. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500 total. It will be $1,000 on the simple assault fear and $500 on the criminal trespass damage. The judge who issued the warrant did recommend a no violent contact, so it will be no violent contact, and you will need to attend the domestic violence seminar. Do we have a date for the females class?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it females class? Hello.
24th?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and there is a class on October 24th that you will need to attend, and the deputies will give you information on how to attend that class, okay? Once you have signed that special
The
condition,
judge is using a
you
green
may
screen,
have a
right?
seat and follow the direction of the deputies. Thank you.
Well,
All right, and is that all of the ladies this morning?
listen to that accent.
All right, great. So I will go back to the start of the list.
I mean, you're in Texas, so you know you hear some of that, but that is charming.
And then y'all can let me know when y'all have agreements as we get to them, okay? All right, so let me pull up our first gentleman. And Madam Clerk, please stop me if something needs to be checked or unchecked or saved.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our first case is Mr. William Allen.
You're licensed in Texas and
Good morning,
Virginia?
Mr. Allen, you are
I'm
charged
not
in
licensed in Texas yet.
22
I passed the bar in
SO10
Texas. I'm licensed in Virginia.
003371
Ah,
with public indecency and warrant number 22
Next month, Mike.
W016576.
you
Your
gotta
attorney
get
indicates
sworn
they've
in.
had a
This
chance
is
to go
the
over the
last
warrants
hurdle. It's
with
not
you.
tough.
And so that they're
Yes, but
waiving
you
the
being a
full
lawyer,
reading
you will appreciate these
of the
distinctions.
charges into the record. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'll hear from your attorney.
Congratulations, Kurt. Seriously, I'm sorry I would go to the other screen to pause it. But at this stage of life, I don't know exactly what stage of your life you're at, but I'm at the old stage of life. You know, I think I could do it, but whew, I don't know if I have the patience for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No. Do I need to turn you up?
Check 1 2 1 2. Can anyone else hear me?
I can
Hello?
barely hear you.
Oh Lord, what problems are there now?
It's that
Hold
damn
on.
Stream Deck.
It could be the damn stream deck. Let's see what's going on.
No, I like the sound effects though. We might need them. This is shaping up to be a lame call.
Well, the chat is saying they can hear me fine, and in fact, Roseanne over here is saying Kurt's loud because now that I'm speaking up, trying to project.
It could be
This-
me. Yeah. All right. Fine. Well, then, as long as they can hear you, I'm happy.
Okay.
At this point.
Thank you, Judge. As I'm sure you're aware, Mr. Allen is currently in custody on other charges, not just this public indecency charge. He has been in custody for almost 2 years now and will remain in custody until he either receives bond on those other charges or wraps up those other cases. So I'd ask that Your Honor consider the fact that this will not be the bond set here today will not release him from custody.
It's always
in setting
something
the
with
bond.
StreamYard.
Mr.
I
Allen is
swear.
21 years old, and before his arrest a couple of years ago, he was living at an address in Lithonia with his mother and brother. He's lived in
See, I'm going to use Miss Fowler's word. She now is in a throuple.
Hey,
And not only does she choose to be in a throuple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the throuple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
as well as the fact that since he hasn't been able to work for 2 years now, and
They know I
his,
want to play it, Kurt. They just
mother
know
would
I
be
want to
the
play
one
my
who would
throuple
likely
clip.
be paying his bond. It is kind of a prohibitive financial situation
That's-
for him. We would be
That's in your
asking
if anyone
for
thinks
Texas right
if
there.
anyone
bond
thinks
for Mr.
thruple's
Allen,
okay,
just
you're in the
giving,
wrong world.
you know,
You are in the
and
wrong world, sir.
The fact that he will have to resolve several charges before he will be
That's the
released.
great state of Texas.
All
That
right,
is the
thank you.
greatest
Mr. Keller?
GAL in the history of GALs.
Yes. If
Your Honor,
you'd like to apply to
just
be in a
given the
throuple
fact
with
that,
uncivil law, my
the-
contact information is
And I
on
don't
my
need to go
about
into
page.
too much of the details of the incident, just what your thoughts are on bond.
Mike, would you like to be in a throuple with me?
he's in jail on other charges, so the state's recommendation would be $500 for bond.
Okay, given that he's in custody on armed robbery, I do feel like there needs to be some sort of bond to incentivize not getting new charges while in custody. So I'm going to set bond at $2,000, no special conditions. So you may follow the direction of the deputy, sir. Thank you. All right. Next, I will pull up the next individual.
Kurt, it's a highbrow group I've assembled here.
All right.
I can tell.
next, We have Christopher.
Really,
I love 'em.
really pushing the standards here.
And Judge, this is one of our UJR consents.
Okay. Let me.
This right here is why being a trial judge doesn't really appeal to me that much. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
he's stating it's just okay. Well, I'll go ahead. Y'all tell me he's stating.
how
Alright,
young
Mr.
is this
Bell,
trial judge? By the
you were
way,
charged in
damn.
case number
I feel fucking old.
2022-93
Yeah.
How do you get to be a judge
Oh,
this young?
with criminal
Did you see the judge
trespass
from yesterday?
for
You
remaining
really,
on the
really feel
property.
old.
Yeah,
In
I'm
warrant
like,
number
what am I doing wrong in my
22
life? I'm not a judge yet, Mike.
Your attorney indicates they've had a chance to
Damn.
go over the charges
I think
with you.
that's a fair
and are waiting
assessment
a
of the
formal reading
situation.
of those charges into the record. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
I think that's about right.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And I understand, Ms. Burnett, that y'all have reached an
No,
a
we're not
consent
doing that.
agreement
Not
of an
at this
unsecured
hour.
judicial
Maybe
release
later in the
this
day.
case. I do show that
It's never too
Mr.
early
Bell
for
has
naked
5
sandwich.
rifles, but no real significant convictions. Maybe one misdemeanor. So I will go along with that and give you an unsecured judicial release in this case, sir. Which means you can, basically, you will be released from jail without having to put up any money. Just be sure that you keep your address updated and keep the number of the public defender on hand so that you don't miss any future court dates, okay? And let me just make sure there's not a do not. I want to make sure that you may have it. Let me make sure that you don't have a special condition on this. And it does not look like there are any special conditions on this case. So that's the conclusion of your hearing, and you may follow the direction of the deputies. All right. We'll go to our next, pull up our next gentleman. All right, next.
I am too old. I am too old for the judge.
Romel
I'm too old for the public defender, man. Damn.
All right,
My
good
life
morning,
sucks.
Mr. Belton. You are charged in case
I
number.
mean, the public defender, I
22-010-10.
understand. She's probably straight out of law school or close to it. But
You're
still.
both easy on the
One
eyes,
warrant
so
of battery,
I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with it.
22-016-572.
That's as far as I'll go.
Let me pull up your offenses. Okay. Your attorney indicates that they've had a chance
little
to
bit,
go over the charges
she acts
with
a lot
you,
more sane.
and they are waiving a formal reading of the warrant into the record. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir? All right, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney.
Thank you, Judge. Similarly to Mr. Allen, Mr. Belton is in on other charges at this point, as well as has a hold out of Alpharetta, which would need to be resolved following any kind of release on bond from this case. So that is something I believe factors into our request for Mr. Belton today. He
I
is
could just play with
22
different
years old
soundboard
and
effects
was
this
living
entire
with his
time.
parents
Just
and his
entertain
brother
myself.
at an address that he's lived at for 5 years, but he's
Have
lived
at
in
it. We
Georgia
got
for
a
his
boring bond
entire
call.
life. He was arrested over a year ago at this point, but before his arrest was working at Marshall's warehouse and receiving
Is
and
that dude drinking
shipping.
vodka?
He was paying his family rent
okay.
and making a fairly steady paycheck at that job. Mr. Belton was in an accident last year and broke his hip, so he does have some medical issues at this point, as well as other things that are holding him in jail. Given the fact that he will not be released immediately upon setting this
Maybe it would
bond,
be better
and
with
the
some
fact that he is
some EDM music.
so
What do you
young
think?
and has a place that he can go to live, we will be asking for a low bond for Mr. Belton.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cohen?
Your
It's
Honor,
worth a
I don't
try.
know the extent of his criminal history, but it looks like he was involved in it looks like an assault in the jail.
I like the dramatic reading.
and
I like it.
A couple other inmates attacked another individual, and that assault resulted in
Okay, that was totally worth it.
So given the
I can
violent
hate
nature
on me
of
all
the
they want, but that was
charge
totally
and
worth
then,
it.
It was.
I don't know the extent of his criminal history, but given the fact that he was in jail when this occurred,
Thank you,
the
Kathy.
state's recommendation for bond
My
would
chat's the
be
funniest.
$3,000.
All right. Yeah,
And they're intelligent.
I actually issued these warrants, so I'm familiar
But
with
they're
the
not above
allegations.
my lowbrow humor.
It looks like because Mr. Belton is in
Freestyle.
jail on murder and armed robbery charges, and possibly also aggravated battery. which are all serious violent felonies. I'm going to set, and again, there needs to be some incentive not to catch new charges while in prison. So you are presumed innocent, but as I understand it,
You're totally
all this was
guilty.
captured on video, and the victim
And we
did
all know
receive
it.
injuries. So I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000 on this case. All right, and there are no special conditions because that's really tough to do when
Might
they're
be my
in
new
jail. So I will
tagline.
let the jail handle the keep
More
separate.
music, thruples, and
of
naked
the party.
sandwiches.
And that concludes your
Why
hearing,
not?
sir. You may follow the direction of the deputies. All right.
The soundboard comes with like
Next, I
15
will
different
collect-
versions of EDM music too. That
All
was
right, next we
version
have
1.
Mr. Brewton, Melvin Brewton. Good morning, Mr. Brewton. You are here on a citation for hit and run in 2509830 that occurred allegedly on October 15th of 2022.
He's
or the
wearing
citation was
orange?
given on that date at 5 a.m.
For a week for that?
It looks like there may have been an accident. And I have reviewed your driver's history. Your attorney indicates they've had a chance to go over this citation with you. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir? All right, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will be asking for a UJR for Mr. Brewton. I understand this is a hit and run citation, and I believe that the accident portion, it's possible, came from simply the charge of hit and run. However, there is no benefit of any kind of details about Mr. Brewton's alleged incident or alleged actions here, and so we will be requesting a UJR for him. He is 38 years old and spent 10 years in the Army before having an honorable discharge. At this point, Mr. Brewton is receiving SSDI, given some
All right,
relation
I'm reloading.
to some
Kurt's in charge.
issues that he has had
What
since
could go
being
wrong?
released from the military.
So very many
So
things.
he's on a fixed income as well as has some pretty bad health problems right now. He has very bad migraines and a torn brachial plexus, which I'm not very familiar with that kind of ailment, but Mr. Brewton explained it to me as a torn nerve that causes him a very significant amount of pain. Medication is something that he takes every day in order to manage that. However, he has not been receiving it in the jail, so he is in a significant amount of pain at this point. Mr. Brewton has lived in Georgia for basically his entire life, except for the years that he spent in the military, and currently has a steady address he's lived at for 3 years in Atlanta, as well as 4 children under the age of 18 who he financially supports on this fixed SSDI income. So given his health problems, his financial history, or his financial situation, and the fact that my understanding is that his last charge was either a decade ago or almost a decade ago at this point, I will be requesting a UJR for Mr. Brewton.
All right, and just so everybody knows, it looks like that he does have 5 cycles since 2012 on his driver's history, including a 2012 speeding and DUI, 13 no headlights, 18 driving with a suspended license, and a 2020 child support. That's what we show for driver's history. All right, Mr. Cohen, do you have anything you would like to add?
Your Honor, given his driver's history and the fact that he was cited with the hit and run, which is, in my opinion, one of the more serious traffic citations that you can be given, the state would recommend $1,000.
Okay. I think that $1,000 is an appropriate bond, given the history on this case and the charge. So, Mr. Brewton, your bond is going to be $1,000, a regular bond. If you do not make bond and are not, or if you do not make bond by October 17th at 5 a.m., then you will be released. All right. Otherwise, your bond is $1,000. Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
We-
and follow
we-
the direction of the
This got the jabs on civil law here.
Where else can you find bond court backed by EDM music? I'd say that's a Law Talk with Mike exclusive right there.
And how?
Right,
Should I pull Deborah Davis into this? Into this
Yes,
nuts?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Let me see
Deborah,
if I can-
got some
let me see
music
if I
for
can
you.
find her.
Got some
All
music
right,
for you,
next we
Deborah.
have Mr.
Enjoy the
Tyler
throuple.
Brock. Is Mr. Brock standing? Sorry. I can't see. Okay. Mr. Brock, you are charged in case number 22
Do you believe in life after love?
with
I
one
could
warrant.
hear
I'm
myself
sorry, that
try
was
to
sorry,
think.
Mr. Brock,
I
there you
really
are.
don't think
You're
it's
charged in case number
strong
22
enough now. Do you
07453 with one warrant.
believe
Family
in
violence
life
battery, warrant
after
number
love?
22W01652.
I can feel
Your
myself
attorney indicates
try
that
to
you have all of
think.
your
I
warrants with
really
you,
don't
and you're
think
waiving the
it's
formal
strong
reading of these into the
enough
record. Do you
now.
understand what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney now.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brock has an address that he has lived at in this area since May with the alleged victim, who is his spouse. However, Mr. Brock indicated to me that he has already arranged to be able to live somewhere else. He has a camper that his landlord owns that he has arranged to be able to stay in until there's something worked out between Mr. Brock and his husband. Just for the court's information, Mr. Brock indicated to me that there might be a separation ongoing between Mr. Brock and his husband. So we are requesting no violent contact,
good
only so
Lord.
that they may work out,
Nothing happened while you were gone.
parameters of that would be between each other, knowing that Mr. Brock will have somewhere else that he can
Oh,
live
I
and will
heard.
not be
It's
in the same
fantastic.
space as his husband. Mr. Brock is from Georgia and has lived here for his entire life. He's got family
Sums
here,
it up.
including his 12-year-old and 14-year-old children who he financially supports. He has a job, actually currently owns his own business, which is a handyman service. He has owned that for 2 years. And while he is, working on the finances of that business, he has not been able to make it profitable at this point. So it is something that is a limit on his financial situation at this point. Additionally, the alleged victim does work for this company as well, which is part of what goes into the no violent contact request that we have here today. Mr. Brock was in the Army for 1.5 years and had a general discharge. Just for the court's information,
Your
it
Honor,
seems
do you
as
see the
if
state of Georgia
the
anywhere in
alleged
the
victim
room?
has also been arrested for charges involving Mr. Brock before. So it sounds as if this is something that is a difficult situation and is hopefully going to be worked out between them. As I said, they are in talks for a separation. I will be asking for a $100 to $150
Ooh, not a
cash
bad
bond
idea.
for Mr. Brock so that he may use the money that he has on him at the jail to be released. And as I said, a no violent contact is our request.
All right, Mr. Cohen, do you have anything?
Your Honor, the warrant alleges that Mr. Brock repeatedly punched the victim in the face, causing injuries that resulted in the victim getting stitches. It sounds like there's ongoing history between the victim.
I can't take this guy seriously.
And I don't know.
He sounds like a character. I can't place it though.
I don't have his criminal history, but given the violent nature of the allegations and the fact that it sounds like that there's ongoing history between the two parties, the state's recommendation would be $2,500 bond and no contact.
All right, so hold on, let me pull it. There we go. All right, so it looks like there is already a case pending with the defendant, Mr. Brock, against the same victim with a no violent contact condition already in place. And that would be in your office, Mr. Cohen, 21S006632.
Now, that's why I like law talk with
from
Mike, because I get to
October
bring
of
out different aspects of
2021.
my personality.
Because it is
Right.
the
It
same
allows me to
victim
ravel the more
alleged, and there was
what shall
already
we
a
say,
no
less
violent contact
sophisticated
condition in
may
place.
you.
I'm going to go along with the issuing judge's recommendation of no contact with the victim in this case at this time. That special
PD
condition
Charlotte.
is that you stay
Sup,
away
girl?
absolutely from the victim in this case. You
How
will
you
get one
doing?
trip to remove any personal possessions
you
if
doing?
necessary, and you will attend
How
the
you doing, baby?
domestic violence class within 5 days of release, and the deputies will give you instructions on how to enroll in that course if you did not attend it the first time.
I can't
as
add
part of your
anything to
bond
that
in the
that's
last case.
appropriate.
And the bond will be $5,000 regular bond. Any separation or divorce, if y'all are legally married, can go through attorneys. All right. And that will, you'll sign that special condition in this case.
They do all the women and then they
you
do
can
all the
follow
guys. Is that
directly
how
the
that goes? And
deputies
women
if that's
first? Sexism. Discrimination on the basis of sex. That's wrong.
I can't. Yeah, they split them up.
Separate but equal.
Yeah. Oh no,
Men
no, no.
getting the shaft once again.
Lily's not ready to get drug into this. Not quite yet.
Oh.
Okay.
Deborah's been around
Next
enough.
gentleman.
She can handle it.
We need a thruple emoji. Yes. If you would like, if you're a graphic designer and would like to design a thruple
Mr.
emoji,
Burnett, you are charged in case number 22-087425 with one warrant giving a false name, address, or date of birth and 22W016581. Your attorney indicates they have had a chance to go over the warrants with you and that they are waiving a formal reading of these warrants into the record, or this warrant. Do you understand the charge against you, sir? All right, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney, although this one, I think I said, for some reason, so I heard this warrant and I said, and then, so I'll tell you,
She needs to stop that accent.
The warrant, the allegations in the warrant and your young age, I
It's throwing me off.
an unsecured judicial release in this case.
I'm about to have an unsecured judicial release.
I don't know if this is one y'all had agreed to on that or not.
It is, Judge. I was going to say this is a
Good morning,
consent
all.
between us for a UJR anyway. So that is
And I'll tell you honestly, so I did that just based on the
She
facts
really
of
is.
the case at the time they were alleged to the court. Now, when the history this morning does show, Mr. Burnett, that you do have 2 pending cycles. They don't have anything to do with this case, it appears. But I would caution you that this may be the last time you get an unsecured judicial release on anything if you have any more pending cases, okay?
Wow.
So the court's gonna give you an
It's so
unsecured
cute how she
judicial
issues
release, no
threats
special conditions
that
on this
nobody
case.
takes seriously.
But be sure to make any court dates in any of your upcoming cases, okay? All right, thank you.
Kurt, you
All right,
see
that
our angle
concludes your
here.
hearing, sir. You can follow the direction of the deputies.
We're literally the only people on. Like this is your
Okay.
only option.
Let me pull up our next gentleman.
Sunday morning, this is your one shot.
You got that down, right? Yeah.
It's called captive audience. That's what we're here for.
I think later this afternoon I'm gonna
All right,
do
next
maybe
we have
streaming
Russell
and
Irving.
streaming some of the Texas
and
bar
Judge
supplement
Mr.
thing I
Irving
have to
did
do,
decline to speak.
and
with
just
me.
we can watch me
Okay.
die
All
in
right,
varying
Mr.
degrees
Irving,
of pain.
let me pull up your case.
Be like,
So you don't
Oh,
want
that's
to
cool.
be represented by the attorneys that are here to assist you?
It's like this, yeah. It's basically the same
All
quality
right.
as every CLE you've
All right,
ever been
sir.
to ever. So, yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Let me make
And so
sure.
everyone gets to
And this
experience
is
the
a
joys
co-defendant
of
case.
what legal
So I will
education
handle
looks
yours
like
first since you're first on
from
the
our
list.
point of view.
You are
Oh, yeah.
charged in case number 22 SO.
Every time I feel bad about myself, I just remember CLE and I'm like, oh, yeah.
One warrant 22W016575
I've taught
for
them.
battery. The
It's
allegations
not
are
good.
in the warrant that in the jail in the pod on October 14th. of
Chumley doing hot dog
2022
Mike, where all the mustard at?
you and 5 other inmates did assault one individual and caused bodily harm to him, Mr. Ferguson, by punching, kicking, and dragging him on the floor, resulting in visible injuries to his face. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
That's maybe that's what I should have titled this
I
stream.
didn't hear you. Can you project your voice a little bit,
Waiting
please,
for
sir?
my washer to finish.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, thank
Are
you.
you,
Yes,
you
it's
waiting for
fine.
your clothes
Thank
to
you.
dry?
All
Come
right,
on
so
in.
you
How
are
about this?
charged in that
Better than
warrant
watching paint
with
dry?
battery.
Question mark.
Are you and you are in custody on an aggravated assault charge right now. Let me see. All
Yeah,
right.
Trish, you got it right.
You have
If I
some
ever feel
felony
like I'm not that great,
convictions
just remind me
prior
CLE
to the
CLE
pending
exists.
aggravated assault charges that you are currently incarcerated on.
And I'm like,
Um,
damn, I'm better than
all right,
every
I will
CLE
hear
ever.
from-
I am
is there
the
anything else
best.
the court needs to know about your financial status?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Cohen, do you have any input
All these
on this
defendants
case?
are behaving.
Your Honor,
which is good,
given Mr. Irvin,
but doesn't make for great content.
criminal history that you just
I have to say, I'm
recounted,
not really
and
feeling
given
the
fact that,
decor of the jail cell.
the
Feels a little
allegations in this
bland.
warrant
Yeah,
are rather
seriously.
serious.
I
I
don't
think
really
the
think
judge
the
did damn
light,
sweet.
the lighting feels a little off, and
And
Hold on,
I'm
wait,
not
I
really
don't think we have
feeling
a
the
knife in this
orange
case.
with the white background. I don't know. It's,
This is the six allegations.
also,
are
on a
6
purely
inmates,
serious note, why are some
assaulted
of them
another
not in
inmate
orange?
a pod.
What's that all about?
okay.
I think
Hey,
it might
guys,
depend on
yeah.
what they're charged with. That's the way a lot of them do it.
All right, Mr. Cohen.
Okay. Okay, so it's okay. So given so this is okay.
Probably, yeah.
Given the fact that he was involved in an assault or allegedly involved in an assault while in jail.
I
and
like
given
that.
he has
That's done
some
right,
criminal
Zen.
history that involves some felonies.
And optimistic.
The state's recommendation for bond would be $3,000.
Okay. Given his criminal history and what you are in jail on a felony crime of violence, I'm going to set bond at $5,000, and again, there won't be any special conditions.
Felony crime of
because
violence, $5,000 bond.
the jail will have to coordinate how to keep everybody separate. So that's the conclusion of your hearing, sir, and you may have a seat.
$5,000, huh?
Thank you. All right.
Mm.
And I will go to our next gentleman. All right, and I believe this is let's see, I'll get all these co-defendants done. So next we have Jacquez Gibson.
And Your Honor, I did speak with Mr. Gibson. I find myself in the somewhat embarrassing predicament of having interviewed him, but being unable to open the updated version of the interview with Mr. Gibson. I
Okay.
apologize for this. It looks as if I may have just not hit save after I finished the interview with him. I would
Okay.
request a moment to briefly speak with him. And again, I apologize. I'm not quite sure what happened.
Okay, that's fine. And there's only one of you here this morning, right? So
Correct, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Would the jail rather do that now, or do you want to do that later after we get through some more inmates? All right. Okay. All right. So Mr. Gibson, have a seat. We will come back to you when we can take a minute. Let's clear out the courtroom a little bit more. Let me go to the other co-defendants since I already have it pulled up.
The baby voice drives me not. Oh, I have a baby voice mod. Hold on. Get the right baby voice. Hold on. Here we go.
Let me see.
All right, so now we'll do this. We'll talk with Mike. Your Honor, I'd like to talk to you about the bond issues that are present in this case.
And Your Honor, Mr. Hewitt also declined to speak with me.
Okay, Mr. Hewitt.
Your Honor, this is a felony.
So you are charged in the same case number with
$5,000 bond.
the same charge.
That's really helping, honestly.
W016-573.
I have like 50
Since
more of
you
these
did not
we
wish
can
to
go through.
speak with the attorney from the public defender's office, the allegations are in your warrant. On that same day in the same pod at the jail, you did intentionally cause visible bodily harm to Mr. Ferguson by punching, kicking, and dragging him on the floor, resulting in visible injuries to his face. Do you understand the charge against you, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that is it. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't hear very well. Okay, so it looks like you also are in jail on, you have 3 cycles, and you are in jail being held on an aggravated assault charge and other charges. So I am going to.
You need more female representation? We can put on a female voice.
The same as your other co-defendant at $5,000 with no special conditions. All right.
We'll talk with Mike.
And
how are you doing? It's nice to be
you may
here.
have a seat and follow the direction of the deputies, please, sir.
That's freaky. I'm like, who joined the stream?
All right, and then let's.
Well, I'm
get-
always happy to be here.
All right, and then next, we already did Mr. Bolton.
I'm actually
right?
chatting
So
with
that he'll be
Deborah.
the only one I have left on that one.
Mhm.
And she's She's rightfully hesitant to hop on this situation.
Okay.
Hop on,
So
baby.
we will
Hop
come back
on.
to Mr.
Dummy.
Gibson. Let's go to now. our
Mama
next
didn't raise no
individual.
fool. We'll see if I can.
All right, Mr. Fred Griffin.
I'll see if we can talk her into it.
Your Honor, I was told by the jail that he had been released.
Oh, it does look like he had a UJR with no special conditions. So, deputies, are y'all showing Mr. Griffin as being released?
Yes, that's what he has.
He has been released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right. Then I'll pull up.
Are they
next
leaving when they're done?
person.
Judge, you said Mr. Griffin was released?
Yes, they say Mr. Griffin was released. Are you showing anything else for him, Madam Clerk?
No, I'm not showing anything else.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, then we will move on. Next we have Jamarco Hardy.
Okay, he doesn't have orange. Let's see if
Good
there's a
morning,
change
Mr.
in chart.
Hardy. You are charged in case number 22-087637 with one warrant of family violence battery and warrant number 22-00165884. Your attorney indicates that they have had a chance to go over the charges with you and are waiving a formal reading of those charges into the record. Do you understand the charges against you, sir?
Yeah.
All right. I will now hear from your attorney.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Hardy is 42 years old. He's lived in Georgia for his entire life and currently lives with his grandmother at an address in the area. The warrant, I believe, states that he lives with the alleged victim,
Says
but
I'm
I'd
gonna
like
be
to make it
released,
clear that
Judge.
Mr. Hardy
What are
has
you
lived
doing
with his
later?
grandmother for 15 to 20
You wanna
years.
meet up
Hold on,
for some,
sweetheart. Hold on. I
if-
stayed with her.
Hold on,
Okay, hold on,
Mr.
sir.
Hardy.
Careful. You don't want to. So you could be saying something, even if you think she's misstating something. You might just want to let her know that you might want to talk with her later, or let her speak with you. Would you like to address him, Ms. Burnett?
Yeah,
I would just say to you, Mr. Hardy,
shut your hole.
that
Shut your hole.
I would tread lightly about saying anything and would actually advise you not to say anything at this point. From our
In other words,
conversation earlier, I
shut
can
your hole.
represent you.
Your Honor, I'm already facing
facing
3 felony indictments in a different state, so I gotta be released so I can go to that.
Okay.
And,
that is their
and that's
standard
just because
argument.
sometimes you may say something that you think is helpful, but it could still be used against you later.
Your Honor, I couldn't have done the domestic battery because I was too busy burning down someone's house. Here's the address of it.
But I do acknowledge there may be some,
And the
whether
video.
you're living there or not.
In the
I will
video.
address that in the bond condition. Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead, Ms. Burnett.
Thank you, Judge. So knowing all of this, there is an address with his grandmother that he has had consistently for quite a while now that I believe that he could stay at. His grandmother does not work. And my understanding from Mr. Hardy is he does provide her with support. He has a job he's held for a decade now as a skilled laborer and makes a steady paycheck there, but he does have 3 children.
He's not supporting me, Ma. It ain't
So
happening.
he's got some
Sorry.
pretty significant financial obligations at this point. Given the fact that my
He has 3
understanding
children.
from Mr. Hardy is that his last charge was about
What am I
5
doing
years
wrong with my
ago,
life,
and
Mike?
that
Oh,
I
that's
don't
right, I have
believe he has
standards.
any kind of a history with the alleged victim. We would be asking for a $50 cash bond. I don't think that Mr. Hardy could afford more than $100
I have more,
in
Kurt.
cash, given his financial obligations to his grandmother and his
Really?
children.
What would you like to
since
tell
he
us?
has that address he could go to, we will be asking for no contact with one trip for him to retrieve his belongings.
All right, Mr. Cohen.
Your Honor,
Is that why you're not going to join me in my
it was
throuple?
alleged that Mr. Hardy
All that and so many other reasons, Kurt.
pushed the victim against the wall, knocked her down the stairs, resulting in rather significant injuries to the victim. The warrant alleges that she had trouble walking, had a knot on the head, and had a gap.
On her head.
Mr. Hardy, again,
Stop.
It's best if you don't say anything, okay?
Please stop.
Sir, this is just what the warrants are alleging. This is not the time to dispute the charges. And so this is what the warrants are alleging. If there's anything, you can talk with your attorney about disproving that at a later date, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I ain't did none of it.
Okay.
I
Given
didn't
the
do
very
any of this
alarming
is
nature of
about the only thing
allegation,
that's okay to say.
The state would recommend $3,000 bond.
Please.
These what are these
I'm
silly
gonna set,
amounts?
so the issuing judge did recommend a $3,000 bond. It looks like, given his lack of recent criminal history, I will lower that to
Man, geez, for
$2,500.
$3,000,
There's
man, I'm
gonna
ready
be a
to go slap
$2,500
somebody up the
regular
head. You
bond,
know, telling you
considering
what,
the
going down to
the
Georgia
allegations
slapping
are
somebody.
pre-existing for a battery
that-
in this case.
It's
But it will be a regular.
I'll have
Sir,
$3,000 in my
this is not the
pocket.
time to argue with
Ready to
me.
go.
And arguing makes me wonder if
it's
you
good
can
to know
follow
the schedule,
conditions at all.
you know,
So
just for
it's
future
very
reference.
matters.
You know.
So I'm going to set bond at this time at $2,500. If you can't make this, you'll be brought back before a state court judge, and your attorney can.
Do
file a
you need
motion for
someone
bond
slapped in
reduction or any
Georgia? Uncivil
modifications
law
that
is
they
here
want
to be
So they
hired
will
for
get with
you.
on that. But at this time, this early in the case, I'm setting
For
bond at
only
$2,500, and there's a
$3,000.
special condition to have no contact with the victim in this case, alleged victim. One trip to remove personal possessions and to attend the domestic violence seminar within 5 days of release.
Money, man. Sneak girl did that. Man. Did you hear them charges? That ain't me.
Oh, he continues to talk. He continues to talk.
Is the bond coming up correct, Madam Clerk?
I'm showing 3,000.
I know, I'm trying to get it to change it to 2,500.
Oh, I should give him a little discount.
All right, let's see if I can do it. Let's see if it saves this time. I had to log out and log back in.
Oh, $500. That's nice. For your birthday.
All right, did it save now?
Because, you know, he's got 3 children and a grandma to support.
Yes, Judge.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. All right, and I'll pull up our next gentleman.
And you pledged the $3,000. Yeah.
All right, next we
Yeah.
have, and I think the first part of the name was cut off, but Jadrian Haynes.
Jadrian?
Oh, hold on, let's let the deputies get the signature done for Mr. Hardy.
Yeah, I think he's getting fitted for that suit.
All right. Mr. Haynes, you are charged in case number 22 SO 10-003373 with one warrant 22W016578 public indecency. And your
she
attorney
won't get
indicates they've
charged for
had a
it.
chance to go over the warrants with you and are waiving a formal reading of the warrant into the record. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir? All right, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney now.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Haynes, similar to some other people on our calendar this morning, is currently in custody on other charges and will not be released given any kind of payment of a bond that would be set today. Additionally, my understanding, I believe, is that there is no bond set on some of those charges. So it is going to be up to Mr. Haynes to resolve or receive bond on other charges before he'll be released. Mr. Haynes is 19 years old and lives in Atlanta with his mother. His mother does work at a warehouse, and Mr. Haynes was employed at Checkers, making about $900 a month. However, he has been in custody for about 1.5 years now.
That's a long time.
So he has not had income for quite a while. Mr. Haynes has lived in Georgia for his entire life and has 2
He's been
children.
custody for 1.5 years and he's being
Given his
arraigned
ties
today.
to the community and
What'd he
his
do?
financial situation at this point, as well as the fact that any bond that is set here today is not going to be a bond that immediately releases Mr. Haynes. We are asking
It's wild.
for just the lowest bond Your Honor feels comfortable setting.
They hold these people forever without indictment. It's wild.
All right,
What's
Mr.
going on?
Cohen?
How's that legal?
Your Honor,
Yeah. It's not what I do, but
I
it
do
seems
not
like it to
know the
me.
extent of Mr. Haynes's criminal history, but given the fact that this allegation occurred in jail, the state would offer or recommend.
It's like a totally
$2,000
bogus set of actions, dude.
Okay. Given that, so the criminal history, he is in jail on armed robbery and other charges. Also, it looks like there may also be a VGCSA and possibly a public indecency from.
And Checkers is a
I'm
fast
not
food
sure.
place.
Yeah, from September
Good
of
restaurant.
2021. So based on all of that, I'm going to set bond
He
in
caught,
this case
he
at
caught a new charge in
$4,000,
jail. What do you do? Slap an inmate?
and there are no special conditions. So, sir, you may follow the direction of the deputies. Your bond hearing is done. It's 4,000 regular bond. Thank you.
These knuckleheads like to call and threaten people from jail. That's how they usually pick up new charges in jail. On the
Yeah,
jail
probably don't do
phone,
that.
clearly recorded that says this phone is recorded, and then they call
There's
up. and
usually
start
a
making
sign that
threats.
says that.
And then
Yeah.
next we have Mr. Jacob Hutton or Hutton.
His public indecency was in jail. Oh.
Good. Is that Mr. Hutton? All right.
Is
good
that even
morning.
possible?
You are charged in
Good question, actually.
3 citations in 22-174-108 ET, laying drag, 109 racing, and 110 reckless driving. Your
That sounds
attorney
like my
indicates they've
weekend.
had a chance to go over the citations with you. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir? All right, thank you. I'll hear from your attorney now on your behalf.
That
Thank
would
you, Judge.
explain it.
Mr. Hutton
George
is only
Peach,
21 years
if
old.
that's the case.
He lives with his father and his younger brother at an address in Woodstock where he's lived at for virtually his entire life. So he has been in Georgia for his entire life and has significant ties to this community. Mr.
They arrested
Hutton
him
has
for
a
racing?
job at Lockheed Martin building F-35s. He's been there for about 8 months now and makes a steady but
Okay.
a steady paycheck, but he does not have
builds
significant financial
F-35s.
resources at this point. As I said, he is living with his father who has a job. And
Damn.
my understanding from Mr. Hutton
All
is
these guys
that he
living with their
has
parents,
nothing
making
similar
babies.
in his criminal
I'm doing
history.
something wrong in my life while I talk with
Um,
Mike. I'm telling you.
Your Honor might have information that I do not have.
But just
Um,
what I would add that you don't have, I have 3 speedings, 2 in 2020 and 1 in 2022.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Regardless, given Mr. Hutton's financial means, the fact that he has some driving history, but none of the same charge as what he is charged with at this point, as well as his significant ties to Georgia, we would ask for a UJR. If Your Honor is not comfortable with the UJR, we would ask for a $100 cash bond for Mr. Hutton.
What's the
Mr. Cohen?
difference?
Your Honor, Mr. Hutton was given 3 citations, laying drags, racing, and reckless driving. Racing
Let him
is a
out.
rather alarming charge to be cited with.
No, it's not. Let him out.
For that,
I'm gonna clip racing is rather
I
alarming.
would recommend $2,000 bond.
In
but
his
for the
voice,
other
it was
two,
beautiful.
500 each.
Okay, so given the recent multiple speeding charges on your driver's history that I would argue, or that are arguably related to racing, I'm going to set bond, and racing and reckless driving are very serious these days, serious allegations. So I'm going to set bond at $1,500 on the racing, $1,500 on the reckless driving, and
$1,500?
$500 on the laying drag for a total of
Shit.
$3,500.
$3,500,
regular.
man. You get less for
If you
slapping a
cannot
hut.
make that
Damn.
bond, you will be released
What
within
is with
48
this
hours
schedule?
of, after 48 hours of your booking on this, or
Your
arrest
logic
on the
is
citation.
undeniable.
So if you do not make that bond by October 18th at 16, or I guess it would be 12:16 a.m., then you will be released on these citations. Okay. Thank you, sir. You may have a seat and follow the direction of the deputies. Okay. All right.
I love it.
I'll pull up our next individual.
Mike, I can't believe you have uncivil law on with that misogyny.
Oh, it's coming. Oh, I'll hear it.
His humor is totally unacceptable.
But yes, the humorless brigade. It's
All right,
very
this is
it's
a long
very
case
small,
number.
but boy, they don't shut up. You know.
All right. Next, we have Mr. Hewitt.
Mr.
We
Hewitt
already
was
did
one
Mr.
of the,
Hewitt, right?
yes.
I
Your
did
Honor.
Mr. Hewitt. That's what I have right here. Thank you. Yes, I saw that. That was one of the co-defendants cases. Thought that long case number was familiar. All right. Then I will call up our next person.
It's been a while, but I
right,
definitely had
next we
times
have
where there's
Mr.
been a
Charles
case number
Gordon.
that's haunted my dreams.
Good morning.
Where it's
Good
like just the
morning, Mr.
number is like triggering.
You are charged in case
Like
number
that.
22-076360 with one count of family violence battery and warrant number 22W014490. Your attorney indicates they've had a chance to go over the warrants with you and are waiving a formal reading of that into the record. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
Yes.
All right, great. I will hear from your attorney now. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jordan is 51 years old and has lived in Georgia for over a decade now. He moved here from Florida with his sons about 11 years ago and has lived at an address indicator with his children for 3 years now. Mr. Jordan does not live with the alleged victim. She has her own place, so there is no concern that this court should have that he would be returning to a home with the alleged victim. As I said, he does live with his 2 children. He has other grown children, but his youngest are 9 and 6 years old. Mr. Jordan is employed as an Uber Eats driver and has been doing that for about 2 years now. So he has an income in that way, but is also, as I said, supporting 2 children as well as paying rent for himself. Mr. Jordan actually recently found out that he has a blood clot in one of his legs that's going to need surgery. So as you can imagine, that is of a concern for Mr. Jordan and a reason why he'd like to get out and be able to address any medical appointments he may need to have. My understanding from Mr. Jordan is that he does not have any convictions for anything similar. Additionally, these warrants are from over a month ago with
Chug
but
that
I'm
water,
not
dude.
aware of any other kind of issues between the parties since that time.
He had a big night.
Mr. Jordan, as I said, is concerned about his medical status as well as his children who
Apparently
are
we
staying
know
with
what
their
water
aunt
the
right now while he's in custody.
government uses.
So we will be asking for a bond for Mr. Jordan in the amount of $50 to $100 cash, as well as a no contact with the alleged victim.
All right, Mr. Cohen.
Your Honor, the warrant alleges that Mr. Jordan
Chugging down vodka.
pushed the victim away and caused her to hit her head,
Could be.
resulted in a laceration. I don't know the extent of Mr. Jordan's criminal history.
I don't know the
Um,
extent
And I don't know the extent of the history between
Hi,
Mr.
Sandy, that's
Jordan and,
possible.
other party that was involved. But given the
even the
rather violent nature of the charges, the state would recommend $2,000 bond and no contact.
Okay.
Yes,
the judges
theoretically,
in
yes.
the decision did indicate recommended $2,000 bond. I'm going to keep that because, well, he doesn't have previous convictions. It does look like he's been arrested twice before for battery against the same victim that may have been ultimately dismissed for want of prosecution, but those warrants did indicate it was the same victim. So at this point, I think a $2,000 regular
believe he's a
bond
Sigma
with a no
Chi.
contact provision, no contact with the victim whatsoever. You may coordinate visitation. The judge indicated you can coordinate any visitation with the children through a third party, but have no contact with the victim in this case, alleged victim, and attend a stopping violence, domestic violence seminar within 5 days of your release. So once you sign those special conditions, you may follow the direction of the deputies.
It's actually a fair point.
Drop that bond down. About
Sir,
15.
not at this point, not with those allegations. If you're not able
But
to
who
make
knows what's
bond,
going on under that
then
desk?
you and your attorney can you'll go before the state court judge and can readdress it at that time. Thank you.
I want to tell my lawyer, the address is 257.
Hold on.
Hey.
So since we're broadcasting live,
Yeah,
I don't
you're on
think
Law
we
Tech
want
with Mike,
to,
dude. Tamp it down.
Oh,
put any addresses out there. But I'm sure your attorney, Ms. Burbett, would you like to address him?
Mr. Charles, we can go ahead and we can talk after court. Additionally, you're going to need to give the jail your address in order to be released, is my understanding. So it will be okay when we'll be able to keep in contact.
okay.
right,
This
thank you,
everything
sir.
is funny.
Okay.
Everything is funny.
All right, next, I believe we have Willie Knighton.
And Judge, it looks like I'm missing your signature on Mr. Jordan's.
Got it. Let me go back to that one. There was not a signature there. Oh, good. I still have him here. Okay.
That's everyone.
Let me sign.
Thank you.
All right. You see it now?
Yes, yes, I have it.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Knighton, good morning. You are charged in 3 citations, 251, 23641, 642, and 643
Yeah,
with
they must have
DUI, impeding
just-
traffic, and open
Okay.
container that are alleged to have occurred on October 15th at 4:14 p.m. Or at least that's when the citation was issued. So your attorney indicates they've had a chance to go over these citations with you. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Okay,
right,
so that was
thank you.
yesterday.
And Ms. Burnett, I will hear from you.
Thank you, Judge. As you stated, Mr. Knighton is charged with citations. There's no indication in the citations, if I'm remembering correctly, of exactly what the allegations or what the level of intoxication that Mr. Knighton is alleged to have had is, or any kind of indication that there was an accident or anything like that. So I would just like the court to please keep that in mind when setting bond for Mr. Knighton. He is 37 years old and has lived at an address in Grayson, Georgia for 5 years now, but he has been in the state for 7 years. Mr. Knighton is married and has 2 children, as well as a job that he's currently working as a contractor at Emory. He is getting paid a pretty steady paycheck, but he is responsible for a pretty significant rent payment, a car note, as well
Why don't
as
they know
supporting those 2 children.
What-
And I believe
What the
his
alcohol
wife.
test shows.
So
I mean, I
given
get it
the
was just yesterday,
allegations
but come
here,
on.
the fact that I'm not aware of any criminal history for Mr. Knighton and his financial obligations, I will be asking for the lowest bond your honor feels comfortable setting.
He wouldn't even be
All
there
right,
if it
thank
wasn't
you.
over
Mr.
the
Cohen?
limit.
Your Honor, I also do not know the extent of Mr. Knighton's driver or criminal history. But given that he was cited with a DUI, impeding traffic, and open container, those are rather alarming citations. For the DUI, the state
They're
would
alarming
recommend a
citation.
$1,000 bond, and then
I'm alarmed.
for impeding traffic, the state would recommend 500, and then for open container, the state would recommend
That guy is a
50. So
trip.
a total of
I like the voice thing, but this
$1,750.
guy sounds like he's
Okay,
using a voice modifier already.
I will set bond in this case at 1,000 on the DUI, 250 on the impeding traffic, and 250 on the open container for a total bond amount of $1,500. And there are no special conditions. And sir, if you do not make bond by October 17th at 4:14 p.m., then you should be released
Possible.
at that time. Okay. Thank you, sir. You may follow the
He-
direction of the deputies.
he gets
And
pulled
be
over
sure
at
to
4
see your
o'clock
court
on
date and
Saturday.
time will be on that bond order. Okay.
Just as the evening's heating up, I could see them being a little sloppy.
All right. Okay, and then next
All right.
we have Kenneth Minifield.
And Judge, this is one of our UJR consent cases.
All right, let me look at that. Mr. Minifield, you are charged with 1 citation of 22-171664 ET for driving with a suspended license. It does look like you have 8 driving history cycles. Well, let me ask you this first. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir? Your attorney indicates they've had a chance to go over them with you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so it looks like there are, the most recent was a 2022 no insurance and a 2022 failure to obey stop signs. Given the consent agreement
Oh,
that the
we
parties
got a
have
Cohen
reached,
fan.
I will go along with that. It doesn't look like there were any similar suspended license, although, sir, I will say, if you come in again on any of those no insurance or suspended license again, it's highly unlikely that you will get a UJR. Okay. So I will give you a UJR at this time. Make sure that you look at the bond order that you get that will have the next court date on it, as well as your citation, but it should have the next court date and location. So you make that court date and don't get a bench warrant issued. Okay. All right, thank you, sir. So you will be released on your own.
I don't know why that makes me
You
laugh.
don't have to pay any money
Anna.
to get released. Thank you. You may follow the direction of the deputies.
Uh,
All right.
all right.
And
Well, I don't think we can sucker her in. I've been
have
waiting to see if we could.
Hayden.
Yeah.
All right.
Deborah claims she was in church.
Xavier
I have
Hayden,
my
good
doubts.
morning. You were charged in case.
Well, we definitely need some Jesus after this. So I'll take it in faith.
With one count of battery and warrant number 22W0165.
All right. We got nothing going on with that call as usual. I did this yesterday. There's nothing. I told you because I'm always, well, not always, but I've been on your stream. We've been on a bunch of streams. Friday night turned into a drinky fest as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
You tapped out with tacos. You did. You're like, I want these tacos. I can't deal. And then we didn't hear from you for about 10 minutes for a little taco consumption time. And then you just come in the comments. And I'm like, he feels better after the tacos.
Yeah.
But I've been telling you all along.
And then I wrote a story about a unicorn seeking berries.
Oh, yes. There was an ogre. But apparently it was a friendly ogre. It was a friendly ogre, as I recall.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming by. That made it more fun. I did this yesterday, and this one was better. Well, they're both interesting in their way. The chat always does it, but sometimes you're hoping for something actually interesting to happen on the call, and that can or can't happen. But when you're live, that's what you're dealing with. I mean, I haven't seen the call. I don't know what's up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice when one of them freaks out and says something crazy, but if not, you just get the stony frat prosecutor.
Yeah.
And it's good times. So thanks for coming by. Deborah, you are officially in trouble. You and your church excuse. I don't know if I'm buying it. And to say that that's going on when it's not, that's bold. Okay, she was probably in church. Oh, good morning from Texas. Where are you at in Texas? Guard your tacos. If you're near Travis County, guard your tacos. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all
I'm in
saying.
Austin, so yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Travis County, isn't it?
mostly yes.
There you go. All right. I'm telling you, one of these days I'm gonna come into Austin. You and I are gonna take over 6th Street for the night.
Excellent. That sounds like
just
a lot
hold
of fun.
court.
Yeah.
We could go like live stream from some like honky tonk with tall bottles of beer and shit.
There's a lot of really cool places and a lot of really nice music. And
It's a great town. It really is.
Yeah.
I haven't been there
I
forever, but when
recommend
I
it.
was there, I was like, oh, this is good times.
You should come down here. It's a lot warmer.
Yeah.
It's a lot more social. So why in Chicago?
I like the tax implications as well.
Tax implications are also nice. No state income tax.
Well, I had the poor judgment to start a law firm in this town, which by the way is a great town, but it's got its issues. Government and climate being two of them.
Well, you're always welcome here.
Both of those things are oppressive. But thank you for coming by and saving my stream. It was a lot better. I mean, I still like it because I'm just having coffee. I don't care. That doesn't have to be the most amazing call. But it definitely got jazzed up with you singing Cher. I'm not going to lie.
I'm always looking for ways to add value.
I will get, you've got a channel, you know the deal. I'll get a bunch of comments saying, oh, that was fun because it was. Those are the correct ones. Then I will get a bunch of people, not
salty people,
many, but then I will get a small segment of people be like, we couldn't hear the call. We were trying to figure out if that guy was going to get his bond reduced or not.
No, you weren't.
Right. Exactly. It's all part of the YouTube fun. All right. Thanks for coming by. You doing a stream later?
Yes, I probably will. I'm probably either going to do some Supreme Court stuff because I want to do a Supreme Court react to the case dealing with Warhol copyright issue that was heard by the U.S. Supreme Court this last week. And I believe it was Rolling Stone that might have misused his stuff, and so it's dealing with the limits of fair use and derivative works and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. And I might also do some streaming relating to the Texas bar supplement thing that I have to do, and we can all watch the light just
Good
clean
Lord.
my eyes.
Everybody go over there, Uncivil Law, like, subscribe. I will give a content warning for my viewers. You are in serious danger of learning something if you dare to try it over there. That's it. That's my disclosure. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. And I will see you all soon.